Hobbs says she wants to speed up the vote counting on election night here in Arizona, but she will not allow some changes proposed by Republicans, she says, to take effect.
The governor vetoed a bill this afternoon, her very first veto of the year. Derek Stahl is in the newsroom with reaction to the governor's move. Derek.
Well, Republicans are calling this a missed opportunity to fix an issue that is a common complaint among a lot of voters. But Republicans do have a backup plan, which I'll explain in a moment. Here's what this bill would have done. In November 2026, Election Day will be on Tuesday. Under current law, folks can drop off their early ballot, which they receive in the mail, all the way up until Election Day, Tuesday. This bill would set a new deadline of the Friday before Election Day. So you could not drop it off Saturday, Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday. Republicans say that would speed up the process because these late, early ballots take a lot of time to verify. They can't signature verify these things until they come into county recorders' offices. But Democrats were concerned that that would basically disenfranchise voters, give voters less access to the election process. The bottom line is, under current law, we typically don't get the final results from counties until about 10 to 13 days after Election Day. And based on the action Governor Hobbs took today, that's going to stay for now.
I can support taking action that would make election results more happen faster, but we're not going to do that in a way that disenfranchises voters, and that's exactly what this bill does. If these folks were serious about actually solving this problem, then they would have negotiated with me, because sending a ballot measure to the ballot in 2026 doesn't do anything to fix this problem for the 2026 election.
So Governor Hobbs has set the record for the most vetoes by an Arizona governor. She issued 143 in her first year in 2023, 73 last year, and this one was the first. Republicans are not happy about this move. This is Republican Senate President Warren Peterson. He said instead of working with Republicans in good faith to provide much-needed reforms to our election processes, the governor impeded all efforts to ensure Arizona can report the vast majority of votes on election night. This is not what Arizonans want from their state's leaders. You heard Governor Hobbs allude to this, but Republicans have a backup plan. And their backup plan is to basically take this bill and send it directly to voters. So they're working on some legislation that would refer this issue to the ballot in 2026. In the Breaking News Hub, I'm Derek Stahl for Arizona's Fan.